Hello and welcome to another Finale tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make a harmonic analysis using the lyrics tool in Finale. This is a rather advanced topic for Finale, and in my experience so far with it, it has been slightly buggy, but it could be user error on my behalf. It could be something I'm interpreting, or it could be my computer. I have no idea. So there's going to be some things in this that will work and some things that will not work. I'm going to show you the things that work in this tutorial. So hopefully, if you want to use this tool in your teaching or your compositions or arrangements or what have you, I'd at least like to show you that this is an option that you can do in Finale to be able to do a harmonic analysis. So with that said, I have Finale version 25.5 up in front of me on the right. On the left, I have the user manual, which I will send links. There will be links down in the description, both for Mac and Windows versions for this. And when doing this, you will need these opened. So let's get right to it. So in order to get this going, there's going to be quite a bit of setup. Now, what I need you to do is to follow my instructions and more or less ignore the instructions on the Finale's website right here. These will get you 90% of the way, but will result in a crash if you follow these directions exactly. So I'm going to show you the correct way of setting up Finale for this. Step 1, select the lyrics tool. Step 2, go up to lyrics option right up here. Make sure type into score is checked. Once you've done that, go down to auto number and make sure nothing is checked here as well. Then proceed to lyric options, click on that. Make sure under hyphens, use smart hyphens is unchecked. And here's the very important part. Go down to where it says word extensions, and that's going to be right here. Click on that. This box will most likely be checked. Go ahead and uncheck it. This is not mentioned in the user manual in the steps right here, except for right here, this bit right there. But I think it should be included as a step in right here between steps 3 and 4. Go ahead and click apply and OK. Once you've done that, make sure that the layer you want to have the notation under is in the right layer. So this is the first layer, and make sure you have the right layer selected. So that'd be layer 1 in this case. Go ahead and click where you want the analysis to be, most likely underneath the grand staff. Make sure the cursor is underneath the first chord that you want to start analyzing. Go up to text under font. By default, Finale will have Finale lyrics highlighted. Make sure you have Finale numerics selected in this case, which is that funky looking font right there. Click OK. And now you are ready to start doing an analysis. So 1, 5, 6, 4, etc., etc. Let me show you what happens if you don't follow these instructions. Because there's one critical thing, that this little bit right here. If you don't do that, your system will crash. Or rather, not your system, Finale will crash. It'll get hung up. And let me show you that, because this happens to me quite often because I forget about this option. So under lyrics, it's mentioned in the user manual to uncheck this, which I did, but never mentioned this. So if I don't have that option unchecked, I click apply and OK. And I begin again. 1, 6, 4. It looks like everything works just fine. You notice this line under here, which is a key hint that something is wrong. There should never be a line there, etc., etc. And watch what happens when I click away. Let's say, oh, that's it, I'm done. I'll click away. That line extends out again, telling you that something definitely is not right. And in a second here, the system should become unresponsive. Finale will be. For some reason, it's not crashing. That's quite odd. Usually it will crash. Let me try to simulate that again. Reopen Finale. It's weird. It should crash. Of course, it's working as I'm filming. So again, let's try this one more time. I'm going to zip through it real quick. It'll also crash if you don't uncheck this box as well. I'm going to leave that unchecked. So I'm just going to type. So I have that in there. I click away, extends out the line, and yes, now it crashed. Well, crashed, I mean it's hanging, the technical term. So the system or the program is completely unresponsive. Nothing I can do, but basically close the program, reopen it. Anything that was in there that hasn't been saved will be lost. So that's why I'm spending a lot of time going over this, because it's not mentioned as a step in here. So if you get really into it, an analysis, and you click away and you discover that, oh crap, I just spent 2 hours of my time typing this analysis and it's gone. So I just wanted to give everybody who's watching that warning that you need to do that critical step of going up into lyrics, lyric options, and going into word extensions and unchecking this box. This is the key, very critical step you need to do. Uncheck use smart hyphens as well, which is listed right here as an option. So, but not that option. So apply, okay. I just wanted to get that out of the way. So, this is a big list of stuff that I will cover, but first I'm going to show you, I'm just going to do this analysis really quickly. First, make sure to go into text, font, Finale lyrics, like I said, is the default. Make sure Finale numerics is selected, okay. And I'm just going to blitz through this analysis really quickly and then explain to you what I did afterwards. You have to, that's one thing I keep noticing, is I have to keep nagging Finale to go to Finale numerics. Oops, that's a 5, 6, 4, and that's a 1. So that's going to be one thing I wish would be changed at some point. Keeps on going back to Finale numerics, or Finale lyrics rather. 5. Yeah. It's really annoying. 6, 4. There we go. I think it's working now. That's a 5, 4. And there's a 1, 6, 4. Again, I'm just doing this really quickly, and I'll explain to you how I'm getting all this afterwards. That's a 5, 6, and that's a 1. So, and that's the same thing, just reversed. So how am I doing this? So, excuse me. It's really nice, is it tells you, it gives you an example of how to create these inversions. So to get the number above here, as you might see, you'd simply on your keyboard just type I. If you want to have the top number, you hold Shift and type, in this case, 6, and that'll give you the top number. Holding Shift again and typing anything else will just overlap whatever is. It'll just basically put another character on top of that character. So to get the bottom number, you just type whatever you want underneath it. 5, 4, 3, 2. I mean, literally whatever you want. So basic chords like that, just basic inversions and stuff like that, first, second, and third inversions, super easy to do. A lot of this is more or less intuitive. I mean, for example, if you want secondary dominance, let's say you want a 2 of 3 or something, you just type /3, oops, 3, and you just move on. To get from one beat or chord to the next, you can use the arrow keys. You can use the space bar to move forward, or you can also use the tab as well, which works. If you hold Shift and Tab, it'll move backwards. If you just press Tab, it'll move forward. I wonder if that's the same for space. Yeah, so if you hold Shift and space, it'll move backward. If you just press space, it'll move forward. So whatever works for you, well, will work for you. So we've done that. So that's pretty much the basic stuff. And once you do an analysis or two using basic chords, it'll be pretty evident that it's not too difficult to do. So let's get on to the more advanced stuff. So one thing I'd like to mention, though, is the character mapping I have not found to be working. So doing, for example, this Alt combination, I have no idea it's not working. It does remind you that you need to use it on your keyboard's number pad, which is what I'm doing. That said, it's still not working. I have no idea. The character map is just, for some reason on my computer, is not working. I don't know if that's a Finale thing or what. It's just not working. This works fine. This other thing, this center line doesn't work because you need a character map for that, which involves you typing in these Alt key combinations, which again doesn't work. So slashes works, but let me show you how to do this, because this is tricky the first time you do it, but once you understand why it is, and it makes a lot of sense. So let me just do this. Do this example that we have here. So where do you have a 5, and you'll just need to fill in the first two first. Which is interesting because if you scroll on the program, you lose your. You have to re-click on it. 8, 6. To move the cursor forward, you would think to use the arrow key, but you can't do that because that'll move it to the next beat. So instead, you use the tilde key, which is the key right under the escape button for most keyboards. For the little dash, that character is Shift. Well, it's Q, but in order to get the top line, you need a Shift. So Shift Q to get the top. And then Q just for the bottom. Move the cursor forward again. Shift to get the top number, which is a 7, and then nothing just to get a 5. There you go. That's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. If you want to have a flat or sharp or something like that in there, you can definitely do that. And in order to do that, we have accidentals right here. The keyboard shortcut, don't use the character map. So again, to get the top, this top number right here, this 8, you need to hold Shift. Always need to hold Shift for that. So in order to get a flat, you need to hold Shift, and Z is the default for flat. You need to move the cursor forward in front of the flat. Let's say it's a flat 6. Oops, I have to hold Shift. Shift and the number 6. And then if I want it to be a 5 or something, there's a 5 right there. Move forward. You can also just have a flat by itself. So for example, 5 flat, what's that? It's well, let's do a double sharp, why not? In that case it's W, so shift and W and 5. I don't know, something like that. You can do stuff like that. And to show you that this is very versatile, again, Q, it gives you a little dash, so shift and Q gives you that. Another Q, I'll add dash right there. Move that forward to, I don't know, shift. Oops. Okay, that's one thing I forgot about. You have to use the number row at the very top. For these numbers right here, you can't use shift and the number pads in certain combinations because, of course, those mean different things. So I'm just making up a bunch of nonsense in terms of chord symbols right here, but I hope this kind of makes a little bit more sense. One warning is you might be used to using Control and Z for undo, but if you do that, the whole character, the whole chord just goes away. So it's not going to undo like the last step per se. So just be aware of that. If you want to undo the last step, the options I would present are either just use backspace, which is okay, or just use the selection tool or the lyric tool to just completely undo it and just start over again. That's just my 2 cents. Okay, so if you have a flat chord, for example, let's say this is a flat 2. So what you'll need to do, if I scroll down in here, you'll need a big accidental because these small ones won't work. And here's another issue where we arise. I can't do a double flat and I can't do a double sharp because these won't work for me. Don't know why. If it's flat 2, simple enough. I'll just need to do the keyboard equivalent. So in that case, it's this. So there you go. And then just as normal, if it's a Neapolitan 6, there you go. Simple enough. If you want to do a sharp, that's easy. Here's a sharp 2 because that's a chord that everybody uses. There you go. Natural, simple enough. Just N in this case. Natural 2, 6. To add a slash through a number, you just, for the top number, you have to hold Shift and S for slash. For the bottom number, you just press S. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about pivot chords right here while we have it. What I've investigated so far is this example I have here is the most reliable option. These two definitely I've not found to work, at least work in the way I thought they would. Same with this one right here. Let me show you. So you'd first type in your chord. So let's say you're going from a 4. And I'm going to do, for example, so you might think that works, but the chord needs to be under this right here. At least that's what I'm used to seeing, is the chord's supposed to be right there. But that's unacceptable to me. I mean, that's not where the Roman numeral is supposed to be. It should really be underneath it. So I wish that was fixed. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong again, but that's just how it is. So I would use the example they have right here. I would just, if you need something done, just use this one because this works. So we have maybe like a 6, and then shift of, I don't know. And you can be fun too. You can do this a flat 2. And of course you can have even more fun. Flat 6-2 of, I don't know, 6-5. Like that's a thing. You can also trying to investigate, see if this works. You know, secondary dominance. Yeah, I guess that works. Of making up just random stuff right now. So yeah, stuff like that. You can definitely get away with doing stuff like that as well. Carrots are pretty good. They seem to work okay. Because let's see if I can do this right. 5. And to get the carrots, you'll need to use the double quote. Is it double quote? I'm sorry. Yes, double quote. Here's the thing, though. If you want a carrot underneath that, so let's say it's a 6-3. Let's make it 6-4. It collides. Let me zoom in so you can really see this. You see the carrot collides into the 6 right above it. It doesn't automatically space itself, and there's no way I've found to respace it. So I'm at a loss of what you should do there. So that's just how it is. And again, there we go. By the way, something in passing is you can, if you don't like these chord positions, you can definitely move them on their own. As such, looks like they're treated as an object, I'm assuming. You can also move them with the arrows right here as well, so you can just shift the whole line up or down or whatnot. Some of the stuff on the website needs to be updated, like obviously Windows computers don't have an option key, so this is kind of a little bit embarrassing, to be honest, to have that in there, like, oops. Other stuff that will need to be... Okay. Yeah, here's one other thing. Stuff like this we'll need to be careful of. I just showed you it, but the website gives you a different way of going about it. So putting natural signs and whatnot, you just need to get used to the fact that the tilde key is the cursor key, rather, instead of like the arrow key or the space bar, right? So let's say we have, using everything we've learned, making up some crazy key. We've got a sharp 1. There we go. I'm just trying to think of a chord to make up. A sharp 1 of 6. Let's say we want that to be a, I don't know. How about let's make it a diminished or something crazy, or what can we do? Half diminished. So a J, we'll do a half diminished. I mean, I'm just making up a chord. Let's say it's a flat 6 or a sharp 6. So again, move the cursor forward using tilde key. Let me zoom in just so I can really show you this clearly. Can't do that because I have to start over again. Sharp 1, that's a good key. Let's do 4 K. Move the cursor. You can do that. Again, I'm just following what's up here. M for a dash. Let's see. Again, you can move the cursor forward again. You can extend it out for basically as long as you'd like. M. You know, you get the idea. And then you can have a pivot chord. So shift. I don't know if I'm doing this right. As much as I'd like to undo, don't undo. Ignore this artifact up here. This will go away once I scroll or click away. Let me move the cursor forward again. I think this will work. Yeah, it looks like that is a not neater. A 4. And you can see it spaces itself out, the artifact went away, and you have this unsightly key signature, or I'm sorry, this chord right here. And again, you can just move it about, etc., etc. And I think this video is long enough as it is, but I would spend, if you're really serious into this and you think this is going to be useful for you, again, check out the links down below where you can find this in the user manual. And have a blast, spend some time figuring out how to do it, and once you figure it out, it's fairly doable. It's a very useful tool to have instead of using the text tool like a novice. We're better than this. All right, well, thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. Like this video if it was useful for you. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys all later. Take care.